Midwestern movie reviewer here with another movie review. I recently saw a movie called Fly Me to the Moon. This movie stars Scarlett Johansson, Channing Tatum, Ray Romano, and Woody Harrelson, among others. I think her assistant was played by someone named Ana Garcia. She did a good job too. This is a romantic comedy that the premise of it is that Scarlett Johansson is a marketing genius and she gets recruited by NASA to try to promote the space program. They're trying to get to the moon and they need additional support and financing from Congress and just to get the public's backing. Scarlett Johansson, she did fantastic in this. This is a type of movie she should be making. I wish she was doing more romantic comedies. She's tried to get into like really serious dramas, and I couldn't get behind that with her. But with this really let her charming side come out. She's so beautiful. She's charming. She can be funny on film. And that's one thing I like about her in the Avengers movies is that she's kind of funny. Also, I want to ask, please stay to the very end of the video because I'm going to provide an extra tidbit nugget about this movie that you might not know about that I found interesting and you might too. Back to this. This is her type of movie. She should do movies like this all the time. Really enjoyed Scarlett Johansson's role. Also, Ray Romano, you're used to him from Everybody Loves Ray, but he did good as like a nerdy scientist in this. I enjoyed his role. Also, Woody Harrelson plays somewhat of a like a slimy political con, I don't know, not really a con artist, but just schemer behind the scenes. He was great as that. Now I go to Channing Tatum. I like Channing Tatum more in comedies where he's being goofy or he's really being charming or sexy. He can really exude that. But in this, he plays somewhat of a sad sack, complainy type character, and I didn't love that for him. I thought he would be better suited for something else. Either more funny or maybe an action role. I like him in action roles also. He was okay. I liked the chemistry between him and Scarlett Johansson. That was believable. So their romance, you could get behind that. Just, I didn't love the character he played. The other thing I did love about this movie, the character that Channing Tatum played, a director of NASA who was on whenever the Apollo 1 tragedy occurred, where 3 astronauts were killed during that flight for that space unit, that Apollo 1. And so he was trying to deal with that as he was trying to get this one off the ground to get to the moon. So that's where his background story was for why his character was so serious. Another thing I loved about this movie was that because it takes place in the 60s, it has that retro feel. They try to make everything super authentic for how it was in the 60s. And because it was NASA, everything was brand new. So they had to make it look old and new. I thought that was amazing. It looked great. It just gave it such a cool feel. And I think if you were from that era and you lived through the time when the astronauts landed on the moon, this movie would be very nostalgic for you. It had a lot of touching moments, and I think you'd be touched by it if you were from that era. You were touched whether you were or not, but I think it really has a nostalgic feel to it. I loved how intense the liftoff scenes were. The vibrations and the sound in the theater really got you into it. Like you could feel how someone back in that time would have been so proud and so amazed at what the astronauts were doing. The one thing I did not like, the length of this movie. It was 2 hours and 15 minutes long. And towards the end, you started to feel that, and you were like, can we wrap this up? You'd had enough of this push and pull story. You wanted it to just wrap it up and let's be done with this. It's well done, but the ending went a little bit too long. For the most part, I believe this was a good movie. I did enjoy it, and I think it's a fun time, maybe a good date night at the movie. Now time for my golden nugget about this movie. This movie was supposed to star Scarlett Johansson and Chris Evans. Yes, and it was going to be directed by Jason Bateman. So what happened, Jason Bateman had to jump out of this project because of creative differences. When they were trying to get another director, there ended up to be scheduling conflicts for Chris Evans, and he had to drop out to do another picture. So Scarlett was staying with this story, and they brought on another director, Greg Berlanti, and then they ended up getting Channing Tatum for this movie. And because there was good chemistry between him and Scarlett, that was a good selection. But I would have liked to have seen what it would have been like with Chris Evans and Scarlett, because in the Avengers movies, I can feel that chemistry there. You know, they have a great chemistry between each other, some good banter, and I think that it would have been a fun couple to see them two on screen. So maybe they can get together in another movie and do something. There's also some really fun cameos in this movie, so look for those. That's all. Leave me a comment, like and subscribe. Let me know if you saw this and did you like it. And also, would you like to see Scarlett and Chris Evans in a movie together, like a romantic comedy or just anything? So, Midwestern Movie Reviewer says, go see Fly Me to the Moon in theaters. Midwestern Movie Reviewer out.